Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Today, we are going to talk about distress inks and ink smooshing in particular. So this is one of the techniques that you can do with distress inks or any dye-based ink that has like a water-soluble property. So it's anything that you can add water to, which is basically any dye-based ink. So, but we're going to practice with or play with distress inks. And what's nice about distress inks, in particular, distress oxides, which is going to be, I'm going to do that in the second part of the video. So stay tuned for part 2 coming out. But with distress inks, what you're going to need is you're going to need some dye-based inks. So the ones that I like to use are distress inks or the Lavinia Elements. They're both really good for this. Okay. You're going to need a heating tool. Okay. So whether you're using a barrel styled heating tool or one of these, you can even use a hair dryer, but this one's really great because it's actually made for drying out your paper. It's got high heat. Do not use this on your hair. You'll fry your hair. You're also going to need a non-porous surface. So I'm just using a glass mat here that I got from the dollar store. Anything that you can basically smoosh your ink into. You're also going to need some water. So I'm just going to be using my Tim Holtz Distress Sprayer here. And some cardstock. So this is, I believe it's a 100-pound cardstock. I'm pretty sure this is Hammermill. So, you don't want to be using 65. That's too light. You don't necessarily need to use a watercolor cardstock for this. This regular cardstock will be fine. You might get some warpage, but we're going to be drying it in between. So, so that should help. Now, when you're picking out your colors, you want to pick out colors that are not going to create brown together. So you want ones that are going to, especially when you're starting, as you get better at this, you can start to introduce colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel. So for example, like purple and green are directly opposite. So they're really stunning together, but if you mix them and their ink properties come together, you're going to get brown basically, right? So if you look, I have red, I have yellow, I have orange. Those are the 3 colors that are right next to each other on the color wheel, basically. In fact, red and yellow will make orange. And in between, so that means I've got saltwater taffy, which is kind of a coral color, which would be a mixture of kind of an orange and red and yellow a little bit together. Pink would also be on the other side of the red. So that's what you want to look at, is how do I get these colors together? So the first way that I'm going to show this today, or today's technique that I'm going to show, is basically just taking your ink pads, kind of moving them off to the side, and you're just going to take your pad direct to your surface like this, and you're just going to put a little bit down. I like to start with the lightest color just because then it's not likely that I'm going to, put red down on my craft mat, which is a very bright color, and then go and put my yellow down into it, because that will contaminate my the ink pad, which I don't want to do. Okay, so the next one that I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of this saltwater taffy. Okay, just a little bit there. I'm also going to throw in a little bit of this pink over here. This is pickled raspberry. That's a little bright, but that's okay. I'm going to throw in some spiced marmalade over here. Okay. And I'm going to start with the candied apple in the red. Just a little bit of red. I don't want too much because red is going to be the brightest and the deepest color. Okay, so now you can see all of the little colors that I've got on the go here. And I'm just going to take my ink, not my ink, I'm going to take my water sprayer and I'm just going to dampen those down. Now, the more water I add, the less intense the colors are going to be. Okay, and then I'm just going to take my ink or my piece of paper, put it down. Okay, and I'm going to allow it to pick up some of those colors. That up, kind of drag it through a little bit. That, add the color. Then I'm going to bring in my baby wipe here. Or not. I don't know why these are so difficult to get out. Okay, there we go. I'm going to give this a bit of a clean here. Bit of a wipe down. So there wasn't a lot of ink left. Okay, you can see there wasn't a lot of ink left. And I need to bring in this. And now I want to heat this because if we want to layer colors, you have to dry it in between. This is the same as any time you're doing any kind of watercoloring, whether it's painting, whether you're ink smooshing, whether you're I don't know what else you would be doing, whether you're using markers, any of that kind of stuff. If you want to layer your colors without having them mixed together, you need to make sure that you're drying in between the layers. Okay. Dry from the bottom side as well. Because as long as your cardstock is still wet and you put on, let's say I put on some red and some brown or something like that, and if there's water with it, it will continue to seep together. That dye, the base of your dye, the base of your pigment will still be activated. So it will run into each other. Oh, I have a sneeze coming. Oh dear. Pardon me. Sorry, guys. Okay. All right. So I'm going to turn that off. Hard here. There it is here where it's, nope, still wet there. You feel that deep area of wetness right there. I'm gonna pull that up. All right, now I'm going to move that to the side because I need to put my ink back down on here. So I'm going to keep flattening that out a little. Now I want to add more ink down. So again, I'm going to start with the yellow because again, I don't want to contaminate my ink pad too much, right? So pushing that down. Let's do some of this wild honey. There wasn't a lot of orange in there. Ooh, that's a bright color, so that should be lovely. Okay. I am liking that kind of picked raspberry on there, so I am gonna just dab on a couple of smooshes in some of these areas here. And I think I want to bring in some of this deeper red of the lumberjack plaid. All right, so you can see the colors down. Now I'm going to bring in. Okay, so some of it is starting to move here. And now I'm going to bring in touch down. Bring this in, touch it down. And touch it down. You kind of can get these speckly looks. And each time you can put your paper down in a new area, you end up building up your color. Okay? So now I'm going to wipe this off. All right, now I'm going to bring this back in. So now you're starting to see, so I've got some yellows and some pinks in differing layers down there. This area with the wild honey there got a little orangey brown, which is okay. But I think for the next layer, I don't think I need to do the yellow because I've got quite a base of yellow, but I think I am going to bring in some more of the reds, the salt water, and the pinks. I think I've got a lot of orange in there. Now I want to bring in the highlights of the pinks and the orange, the pinks and the reds. I'm going to bring that up. I've got lots of the base of the orange and the yellow, which is good. So, and you can see here, this patch right here was from the original smooshing of the picked raspberry from the very first time, and that didn't move. So that's going to be a color base that I can build on top of because I dried it in between. So once you dry it, that pigment is set, right? So it's not going to reactivate. But... So you want to make sure that you're drying from both sides. That will help with some of the curling as well. Now, this is not watercolor paper, which of course means then that it's a little more fragile. So you need to be careful when you're drying it. It's absorbing quite a bit of water, and that's all right. Still damp in a few places. So I can't move on to the next step until this is dry, because otherwise it'll just combine and kind of create a mud area. Get it in the air there so that the air is moving on both sides here. Switch, because that corner that I was holding was a little damp, little down. But, yep, good. Okay, that to the side. Put this over to the side for a minute. So here's where we're at so far. So this is card base, so this is 4¼ by 5½, which I would trim down before I put it on a card. But let's do, again, we're going to start with the lighter colors. So I want some of the saltwater taffy, because it's kind of this really pretty coral color. So I want some of that on there. I am going to want some of this picked raspberry. Let's get that in a couple of areas there. Let's get some of this candied apple. Pretty red. And some of the lumberjack plaid. So, ooh, that's a bright red. Nice. Okay, so basically what I'm doing is I'm checking to make sure I want the ink, the colors, to be beading so that I know then that I'm going to have some fluidity to it. So it's not going to go onto my cardstock too heavy. Okay, I'm just going to take it in and I'm going to push it and fluffer down in certain areas. Let's bring in some of that red there. Smoosh, smoosh. Bring in some of the pink in the corner. This would be a fun birthday card. All these pretty pinks and reds and oh, there's some red there for the yellow. And you just basically turn it over, kind of see where else would I like to have something. Now I'm just adding that extra layer. Plunka, plunka, plunka. There we go. Okay, now let's wipe this up again. Oh, apparently I got a little carried away. Okay. Now let's pull this out and let's get drying on that again. Let's start from the bottom. And as you're looking at it, as you're drying it, check and see. Now, do I feel like I want to highlight any more colors? Can I bring up any more colors? Do I need to, right? Do I want to have some more of that red in just a couple of places? Because I could do that. Do I want to bring in now some more yellow? I'm actually really quite happy with how much yellow and what's showing through, but maybe I want some more of that pink on top of the areas where the red is now. That's a possibility. I could certainly do that. Okay, how's that? Yeah, stick again right there. So pull that up and okay. Pink, it's pretty dry. Now, I want to see, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. So you can see here, so where I've got the red, you can also still see the purple behind it. You can see the yellow. You can see all of the little splotches from other times when we've done it. So what the whole reason for doing this is to add depth and dimension to your card. Because of course we're working on a 2D surface, right? It's just flat basically. But the whole not the whole point, but one of the best techniques to create really beautiful cards is adding depth and dimension to your card to make it look like it has life to it, that kind of thing. So by doing this, we've got like, so there's some oranges, some yellows. It's multi-dimensional when you're looking at it. Okay. Now, the other thing that I could do, because these are distress inks, if I wanted to, could do is, let's do this here, if it will work or not. Okay, I'm just going to add some water right there. And I'm going to pick up using my fan brush, and I'm just going to faux bleach it. And let's see if we can get some. Theoretically, this should work in order to put in some speckles. So I'm going to leave that there like that. I'm going to put my, okay, give this a bit of a wipe up of the water so that I'm not resaturating. And now I'm going to bring this in and I'm going to dry the bleaching that I just did. Oh yeah, it worked. Okay, outside here. So I don't know, I'm hoping you guys can see here, but if you look, you can see right there where that lightning is. So that's where it bleached. And there's a couple more areas here too, where it has pulled out some of the color to again, give me another depth of dimension or another faux dimension. So I'm just going to kind of bring this along the side here of my desk to kind of straighten it out. So you guys can't see it, but I'm basically just taking it on the edge of my desk like that and kind of trying to take out some of the kinks. I could take this and, you know, you could iron it and run it through your die cutting machine if you want. I don't really feel like doing that or have the time to do it. So you're kind of looking at this, and you're like, wow, Crane, that's a fairly busy card. And I hear you. I hear what you're saying. That's a little much. What am I supposed to do with that now? But look at what happens if, whoopsie, look at what happens if I take this die cut like that. Okay, I'm not suggesting that you want to have this busy of a background. You don't need to do that, but look at how adorable that becomes. right? Like that's really cute. And then we'll put something like this. Now the white, I would probably actually do a white die cut on it. So for example, like what happens if we do this guy? What happens then? So let's try that. I'm going to glue that down because I could actually have that be like that and then glue that down onto a square card, right? If I'm going to do a, where are we going? Here's my square cards. Is that an envelope or is that the card base? Okay, so I have a card base. So this would be the square. So this is a 5.5 by 5.5. Let me make sure that's right. Yep, 5.5 by 5.5 is the card base. Okay, that's your typical square one. So this guy measures, let's see, 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. So what I want to do is I want to cut this down to 4 by 4. Okay, and I really like that corner. So I'm going to come in here. Come on, get in there. I could do 4 1/4. If I do 4 1/4, I should be able to get 4 1/4 this way too. And have just a little bit extra. Yeah. Okay, good. Yes. All right. Okay. So put that aside. And I'm going to put, this is a really handy tip. If your card is quite warped from, from putting a lot of water on it, is to use foam tape. Because foam tape will often help, will often help stretch it out or kind of push it down into place. Okay? So I'm going to do that. And I'm trying to get it really close to the edges for my foam tape. This is closer than what I normally like to do, but this way then it won't curl or lift, mostly because I'm not taking the time to run it through my die cutting machine, because that's usually what I do, is I run it through my die cutting machine. Or I wait and do like a night under a book or something heavy, like a couple of paper pads or something like that. And that helps to flatten it out as well. But if you're impatient, like myself, we're just going to use foam tape then instead. Okay, and then I'm going to put a couple in the center. Okay, so for now you can see, yeah, I mean, there is still some warpage, but it's actually quite a bit better. So what I want to do is, so I'm going to stick this down first. Good question. I've got some fuzz here from when I die cut it. I'm just going to take this off to the side here. So sometimes you get those little paper fuzzes where it hasn't quite come off yet. I just like to take a little nail filer or nail buffer and just kind of run it along the edges. I'll just pick that up. The other thing that you can do too is sometimes just run like some mint tape or some lightly sticky tape, like a washi tape or something like that to help pull those fibers off, because they'll hang about. They'll hang about. Okay. So this is an awesome idea when you've got something that is as busy as this is. What great thing to do is to look at your cover plate dies. Have fun with your inks. Create your own backgrounds and then utilize a cover plate die like this one. Okay, so now I'm going to take my liquid adhesive. I'm just going to run a nice little bead on this guy here. all the way around. Mm, down, and I want to try and center this. See, it's a spot there with the fibers. Okay, I'm gonna try and center this, and I have about, I think it was about a quarter of an inch all the way around. Yeah, so a half inch in round total. That's not too bad. There we go. And I'm gonna put that down, and I'm gonna pull out a stamp block. I'm just kind of push that down. Make sure it adheres to everything. Give the Barely Art glue time to kind of adhere to the background. Cute, right? Like that. Okay. And then and see which way does our card open. Okay, card opens this way. And let's pull our adhesive off, or our release papers off. Good. A little more. Right. Okay, make sure we've got the happy birthday going the right way. And kind of, I think we need to go over just a little bit there. And come up a little bit here. I still managed to get it crooked. That's hilarious. Oh well, it's not that bad. Okay. All right. There we go. So I took one very busy background that still has lots of depth and dimension, looks really happy, and made it into a really beautiful, cute little happy birthday card. I can add some little sequins on here if I want to add some uh, bling to it. I could also color in my, not color it in, but I can use Wink of Stella on the letters that say happy birthday to give it a little bit of shine and depth. That could work too. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. And then this part, if I want, now I can turf it if I want, but I can also, like, I could die cut a happy out of that, right? Like, look at that. I could do a happy birthday. Or if I had a couple more pieces like this is just cardstock, so it can be die cut. Yeah, it's kind of fun for sometimes the inside of a card. You could do, if you wanted, you could do like the three sides here and make a little pocket if you were going to put a gift card in here. And this matches your friend. The gift card could just sit right there like that. See, right? Just like that. Gift card could sit in there, just like that. And it would coordinate with your card. That's kind of fun. Anyway, so that's going to be the video for today. That's part one. Come back for part two, which should be up in 2 weeks. All right, which we're going to play with, going to try smooshing in a different way using oxides. All right, talk to you later. I hope you all have a great day. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.